If you're looking for the 3 fastest ways to make money in 2024, keep going. Don't watch this video. This is not for that. Because here in this video, what I'm going to talk to you about is something much more profound. And if you are simply stuck on making money, then you won't see it anyway. And now, for the record, I'm not saying you can't go and make money, but this video is not for that. See, in this video, what I want to talk to you about is how you, every day, train your brain to be happy or unhappy, to be wholesome or unwholesome, and that every action you take is dependent upon your previous actions, and all future actions are dependent upon the actions you take right now. If you're watching this video, you may be in search of something. You may have gotten triggered by the title, or you may have just been meandering around YouTube. It's such a really interesting thing when you think about it. We're able to just log onto a device and get lost. But if you are in search of something, which is probably the case given the fact that you're on YouTube, I have an answer for you. And it's not an answer that you're going to like. It's not an answer that you're going to expect. It's not an answer to trigger you or to get you to pay me any money. It's an answer that I have found through thousands and thousands of minutes of sitting quietly by myself. And it's an answer that I want to give to you, but I can tell you that the answer that I will give to you is not necessarily going to affect you in any major way right now, because the answer that I will give to you is something that comes in waves and waves and waves. And furthermore, you need to put the things I'm saying into practice to even understand what I'm trying to tell you. And that may be difficult for you. And that's why it's always good to work with a teacher or somebody else, or at least be disciplined enough to teach yourself. So, what is this secret, or what is this thing I wanted to teach you right now? It's not something you've never heard before. You make problems bigger than they should be. And the reason you do that is because you've trained your brain to do that. Neuroscience says that neurons that fire together wire together. So every day you are firing neurons and wiring them. Wiring them to do what? Well, that's dependent on you. Are you wiring them to include self-hate, negative talk, intrusive thoughts, being easily distracted, over-sexual? Or are you wiring your brain to be compassionate, to be loving and kind, to be disciplined, to not give yourself that instant gratification, to being peaceful, to being accepting, to being loving? See, this is why Buddhism and science are so closely related, because the Buddhists figured out thousands of years ago that everything they do is going to change what happens forward. It's called the law of dependent origination. All things are dependent on a previous cause. It chains all the way back to infinity and will chain forward to infinity. And so you right here, right now, watching this video is dependent on the previous actions that you've chosen and will lead to new actions. But it is all dependent on you. And so the Buddhists understood from a psychological standpoint that if they quieted the mind and trained the mind to be aware of this truth, that they would not have to suffer so much, my friend. And this is the basics of Buddhist teachings. We suffer. We do, man. We suffer, we suffer, we suffer. We suffer so much. I mean, how many moments of our lives are we suffering? We just want to live a comfortable life where we're not suffering, and we get there, sure. Find a stable job, get a house, pay rent to a house, whatever, get something over our heads. But before you know it, not even before you know it, just eventually, something bad will happen. Something will happen that will trigger you. And dependent on how you have trained your brain will depend on how you react, and how you react will lead to either suffering, dukkha, or non-suffering. This is the Buddhist philosophy, and if you're a Stoic and you care about philosophy, I'm here to tell you that Stoicism is just level 1 of Buddhism, in my opinion. They're related, but also just so different. So sit with yourself. Sit with that. I want you to pause this video. I don't want you to click on the next video. Sit with this video. It's about to be over. Sit with what I'm saying. Remind yourself that you are retraining your brain in everything you do. And the mindfulness, or in the Buddhist language of Pali, sati, is a matter of remembering this. Sati means mindfulness, but it also means remembering. Remember that you are the one who controls how you feel. Remember that what you do consistently will train your brain to feel that way or not. And remember that the only cure for your suffering is to let go, accept, and be mindful. Remember you are here right now. Remember this moment of presence, this moment of truth and liberation. May you be well.